Boundless waters of the world's oceans conceal mysteries in their dark depths that humanity has been trying to unravel for millennia. What secrets lie in the abyss, where sunlight does not penetrate? The ocean is the most enigmatic place on our planet, harboring secrets that make the blood run cold. Scores of ships and aircraft have vanished without a trace in what are known as cursed zones. The Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Sea off the coast of Japan. How could entire vessels disappear without leaving a single trace? Strange sounds emanating from the depths are recorded by scientific instruments, but their origin remains unexplained. Rumblings, screeches, mysterious melodies, what or who produces them? Legends of ghostly ships, forever wandering the waves, are passed down from generation to generation. The Flying Dutchman, the Mary Celeste. Are they mere myths or a chilling reality? What secrets do ancient sunken cities, buried beneath the ocean's surface, hold? Today, we will delve into the depths of the darkest and most inexplicable marine mysteries, about which many prefer to remain silent. The Bermuda Triangle, this ominous maritime territory between Florida, the Bermuda Islands, and Puerto Rico, has become a symbol of inexplicable disappearances and maritime mysteries. The waters of this region, shimmering in all shades of lazurite on a sunny day, conceal something that causes experienced sailors to change course and avoid these areas. What is happening in this enigmatic region? The story of December 5, 1945, still sends shivers down spines. 5 B-29 bombers, part of Flight 19, disappeared without a trace during a training flight. The last words transmitted by the flight leader over the radio were, "We don't understand where we are. Everything looks strange. Even the ocean is not the same." Then, only static remained. How could 5 aircraft with experienced pilots simply vanish into thin air? And what is even more alarming, a Martin Mariner seaplane sent to search for them also disappeared without a trace. 27 people vanished into the sea in a single day. Or the story of the luxurious ship SS Cotopaxi, which sent a routine radio message in 1925 and then seemingly evaporated from the face of the earth. No wreckage, lifeboats, distress signals, nothing. Over the past 2 centuries, more than 329 ships and over 100 aircraft have entered these waters and never returned. Scientists offer dozens of explanations for these mysterious disappearances. Some point to powerful methane hydrates, underwater methane bubbles that, rising to the surface, can instantaneously deprive a ship of buoyancy, dragging it to the depths. Others mention unusual magnetic anomalies that can disrupt navigation instruments and disorient pilots. Researchers from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration have recorded strange electronic fogs, luminous formations that envelop ships and aircraft, disabling all electronics. But can these scientific hypotheses explain all the disappearances? What about the numerous reports of time distortions, where ships, barely escaping the triangle, arrived at their destinations with significant delays, despite their logs and clocks indicating the journey was on schedule? And what about the mysterious underwater structures discovered near Bimini? Geometrically perfect stone platforms resembling roads and building foundations. Could they be part of the legendary Atlantis? And are the strange phenomena of the Bermuda Triangle connected to the technologies of a lost civilization? Residents of the Bahamas speak of strange lights rising from the water on moonless nights, and of inexplicable whirlpools appearing in completely calm seas. Fishermen swear they heard the sounds of working mechanisms coming from the depths in certain areas of the triangle. Some researchers propose even more fantastic theories, from alien bases on the ocean floor to portals to parallel dimensions. But whatever the truth may be, the Bermuda Triangle continues to be one of the most unsettling mysteries of the world's oceans, a place where the laws of physics seem to cease to apply, and the boundary between the known and the incomprehensible becomes particularly thin. And perhaps the most frightening aspect of this enigma is that many of the ships and aircraft that vanished there were never found, as if they had never existed at all. What lies behind this veil of mystery? Perhaps we are still very far from truly understanding the nature of this enigmatic place. Speaking of mysterious underwater structures and vanished civilizations, it is impossible not to touch upon the greatest maritime mystery of all time, the legendary Atlantis. This ghostly continent, described by Plato in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias over 2,400 years ago, continues to haunt scientists, researchers, and dreamers. Plato paints a picture of an extraordinary civilization that existed 9,000 years before his time, an island empire located beyond the Pillars of Hercules in the Atlantic Ocean. According to his description, Atlantis was a land of incredible wealth and technological sophistication. Magnificent temples lined with silver and gold, vast canals connecting concentric rings of land surrounding the capital, hot and cold springs feeding luxurious baths, and an amazing system of transportation and irrigation. But what is particularly intriguing about this story is the sudden and catastrophic demise of this advanced civilization. In one day and one terrible night, writes Plato, Atlantis sank into the abyss, taking with it all its knowledge and achievements. How could such a rapid disappearance of an entire continent occur? Some geologists suggest that a powerful volcanic eruption, similar to the one that destroyed the Minoan civilization on Santorini around 3,600 years ago, could have been the cause. Others point to the possibility of tectonic plate movement or the impact of a large meteorite. But was Plato's account based on real events, or was it merely a philosophical allegory about the destructiveness of pride and the abandonment of divine laws? Remarkably, many ancient cultures preserve similar legends about a great flood and lost lands. The Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh, the Indian Puranas, the Mexican codices of the Maya, all contain references to ancient catastrophes and vanished continents. Can such a coincidence be purely accidental? The search for Atlantis has led researchers to the most diverse corners of the planet. Some see its traces in the enigmatic underwater structures off the coast of Cuba, where at a depth of about 700 meters, geometrically correct stone formations resembling the ruins of an ancient city have been discovered. Others point to the mysterious platforms off the coast of Yonaguni in Japan, underwater terraces, stairs, and arches, the origin of which is still a subject of heated debate. Some researchers draw attention to the marshy plain of Atlantis Hill in Andalusia, where under layers of silt, traces of ancient settlements have been found, buried as a result of a catastrophic flood. Or perhaps the answer lies in the very center of the Atlantic Ocean, where underwater research has revealed strange anomalies in the mid-Atlantic ridge. Modern technologies allow us to look deeper than ever before. Satellite images, hydroacoustics, robotic underwater vehicles open up new horizons for research. In 2018, a group of oceanographers studying the seabed off the coast of Morocco discovered strange concentric structures that remarkably resemble the description of Atlantis's capital. But what is even more enigmatic is the analysis of samples taken from this area, which showed the presence of metal alloys that could not have formed naturally. Were these fragments of the technology of the vanished civilization? And if Atlantis did exist, what other secrets did it take with it to the bottom of the sea? Perhaps it is there, in the dark depths, that the answers to questions about the origin of human civilization, the cycles of its development and decline, the knowledge lost over the millennia, lie hidden. And perhaps one day we will hear this call from the depths, the summons of forgotten wisdom, waiting for its moment to emerge once more into the light. But for now, Atlantis remains the greatest maritime enigma, a shimmering mirage on the border of history and myth, scientific search and mystical revelation. The vanished continent continues to entice us, reminding us that even the greatest civilizations can disappear without a trace, leaving only echoes of their existence in legends and beneath the layers of oceanic waters. Speaking of vanished civilizations and maritime mysteries, it is impossible not to draw attention to another mysterious phenomenon that seems to echo the ominous reputation of the Bermuda Triangle, but on the opposite side of the planet. In the western part of the Pacific Ocean, near the shores of Japan, lies an area that sailors have avoided for centuries, passing down stories of strange disappearances and inexplicable phenomena. This place is known as the Devil's Sea, or the Dragon's Triangle, an eastern nightmare for sailors, shrouded in a veil of mystery and fear. This enigmatic zone, located approximately 100 kilometers south of Tokyo, forms a nearly perfect triangle between the Japanese island of Miyakojima, the Bonin Islands, and Guam. The waters here are exceptionally deep, up to 10,000 meters, with the seabed dotted with underwater volcanoes and mysterious faults. What makes the Devil's Sea truly ominous is the astonishing number of ships and aircraft that seem to vanish without a trace, leaving no wreckage, distress signals, or any other signs. The first documented accounts of the peculiarities of this region date back to the 9th century AD, when Japanese chronicles mentioned demonic whirlwinds that dragged ships into the abyss. Local fishermen have long believed that these waters are home to a giant dragon that devours careless travelers. However, the dragon's triangle gained its true fame in the 20th century when, in 1952, the Japanese research vessel Kaiomaru No. 5 with a crew of 31 disappeared without a trace. Search operations yielded no results. The ship seemed to have evaporated. What is even more astonishing is that a few years later, in 1954, a similar fate befell a vessel sent to search for the Kaiomaru. 9 researchers trying to unravel the mystery of their colleagues' disappearance became part of the enigma themselves, vanishing in the same waters. How can such a sinister pattern be explained? Some geologists point to the unusual seismic activity in this area. Underwater earthquakes can cause sudden methane releases from the seabed, creating areas with reduced water density where ships lose buoyancy and sink instantly. Other researchers note strange magnetic anomalies that disrupt the functioning of navigation instruments and compasses. Japanese researcher Kiyoshi Wada in the 60s proposed the theory of the existence of magnetic tunnels, areas with distorted magnetic fields that can disorient both electronic devices and human perception. But how to explain the numerous eyewitness accounts of strange light phenomena over the sea? Mysterious greenish luminescence, spherical objects emerging from the water and disappearing into the sky, and inexplicable fogs appearing on clear days. In 1973, the crew of the cargo ship Kazuki Maru reported observing a submarine sun, a huge luminous disk rising from the depths and hovering above the water's surface. 20 minutes after this observation, contact with the ship was lost, and it never reached its destination. Particularly disturbing is the fact that even modern technology cannot fully explain the phenomenon of the Devil's Sea. In 2012, a Japanese-American expedition equipped with state-of-the-art deep-sea research equipment recorded strange acoustic anomalies, low-frequency sound waves that are not characteristic of known marine animals or geological processes. These, can this in 90 all some others, whatever and who, but not the fly, have long been considered harbingers of inevitable doom for those unfortunate enough to see them. But who was the captain of this cursed ship? The most widespread version tells of a Dutch captain named Philip van der Decken, who in 1641 attempted to circumnavigate the Cape of Good Hope during a terrible storm. When his crew begged him to turn back, the captain, enraged and possibly drunk on rum, vowed to sail the seas forever, but would not yield to the elements. According to one version, he even drew a pistol and shot a crew member who called for reason, then shouted blasphemous words, challenging the Almighty himself. In that instant, the legend says, a mysterious figure, either an angel or a demon, appeared on the deck and uttered the fateful curse. For your pride, you are condemned to sail the seas until the day of judgment, bringing death to all who see your ship. Another version of the story links the origin of the Flying Dutchman to an outbreak of the plague on board. According to this tale, the ship, stricken with the terrible disease, was doomed to eternal wandering, unable to reach shore. No port would take in a ship flying the Black Plague flag, and over time, the entire crew perished. But the cursed ship continued its endless journey, guided by a dead captain and a crew of ghosts. What is particularly unsettling about the legend of the Flying Dutchman is the astonishing number of documented sightings of this phenomenon. In 1881, the future King George V, then Prince of Wales, recorded in his diary an encounter with a mysterious ship off the coast of Australia. On July the 4th at 4 o'clock in the morning, a strange red light, like a ghostly ship, completely engulfed in flames, was clearly visible from the left side. 13 witnesses among the crew confirmed this sighting. In 1939, the crew of a German military ship reported meeting a sailing ship of ancient design that suddenly disappeared into thin air when they tried to approach it. Especially intriguing is the fact that many of these sightings occurred in the vicinity of the Cape of Good Hope, the very place where, according to the legend, Captain van der Decken challenged the heavens. Can these observations be explained by atmospheric phenomena, optical illusions, or mass hallucinations? Perhaps, But how then to interpret the fact that many sailors who reported meeting the Flying Dutchman subsequently encountered misfortune, shipwrecks, illnesses, or even death? A mere coincidence or a manifestation of an ancient curse? Some researchers of paranormal phenomena propose that the Flying Dutchman could be a manifestation of what is known as a time loop, a situation where a particular past event, especially a tragic one, leaves an energetic imprint that can manifest in our reality under certain conditions. Others connect the sightings of the ghost ship to specific electromagnetic anomalies that can arise in seawater during storms and create mirages of extraordinary clarity. But however scientists may try to explain the phenomenon of the Flying Dutchman, this legend continues to live in maritime folklore, literature, and cinema, reminding us of the thin line between the world of the living and the world of the dead, the price of pride, and the mysteries that the ocean holds in its depths. And perhaps, somewhere among the churning waves, the cursed ship with its ghostly crew still wanders, guided by a captain whose pride has condemned him to eternal exile. And perhaps one day, on a dark, stormy night, you will see a strange silhouette on the horizon and a reddish glow enveloping its sails. But remember, seeing the Flying Dutchman means inviting its curse upon yourself. And who knows, perhaps you will be the next to join the endless voyage of this ghost ship, forever lost between worlds, between life and death, between past and present. If the legend of the Flying Dutchman makes sailors look warily at the horizon, there are places on Earth that attract treasure seekers and those seeking mysteries, despite their ominous reputations. One such place is the mysterious Oak Island, a small piece of land off the coast of Nova Scotia in Canada, which has been harboring a secret for more than 2 centuries that has kept researchers and adventurers at bay. At the heart of this mystery is the famous Money Pit, a deep shaft where, according to legends, untold treasures are hidden, protected by a cunning system of traps and perhaps an ancient curse. The history of this enigmatic place begins in 1795, when a young man named Daniel McGuinness discovered a strange depression in the ground under an old oak tree, with signs of ropes on its branches, as if something heavy had once been suspended from them. Intrigued by this discovery, McGuinness and his friends began digging, which marked the start of one of the longest and most mysterious search operations in history. What they found is still astonishing today. At a depth of about 10 meters, the searchers discovered a platform of oak beams, beneath which was a layer of seaweed, then a layer of charcoal, followed by another platform of oak beams. This sequence repeated every 10 meters, demonstrating the incredible complexity of the structure. Who created this system and why? What treasures could it have been protecting? Theories multiplied with each new layer and each new expedition. Some believed that pirates' treasures, possibly those of Blackbeard or the legendary Captain Kidd, were hidden here. Others suggested that the shaft contained the jewels of Marie Antoinette, secretly smuggled out of France during the Revolution. Others went even further, proposing that the Money Pit held lost manuscripts by Shakespeare or even the Holy Grail, brought to the island by the Templars. However, the most ominous aspect of the Oak Island story is that for over 200 years, numerous attempts to reach the supposed treasures have always ended in failure, often tragically. In 1849, an expedition by the Truro Company discovered at a depth of 40 meters a mysterious stone slab with symbols carved into it which, according to some interpretations, meant £2 million lie 40 fathoms below. Inspired by this find, the researchers continued digging, but encountered a cunning flooding system. When they reached a certain depth, seawater began filling the shaft through artificial side tunnels. This engineering system, created several centuries ago, still effectively protects the supposed treasures. But what is even more sinister is the legend of the curse associated with Oak Island, which states that 7 must die before the island reveals its secrets. And indeed, over the years, 6 people have died on the island under mysterious circumstances. Machinery broke down at the most inopportune moments, tunnels collapsed, and once several researchers died from a mysterious release of toxic gases from the depths of the shaft. Coincidence, or the manifestation of an ancient curse? In 1965, a tragedy claimed the lives of 4 more expedition participants when a pump that was draining water suddenly malfunctioned, and people suffocated from the gases that had accumulated in the shaft. Modern technology has allowed the discovery of metallic objects and even chests in the depths of the shaft, but they have not yet been able to be extracted. Moreover, using radiocarbon dating, it was established that the artificial structures on the island were created between the 14th and 16th centuries, long before the official discovery of the island by Europeans. Who could have built this complex system in those distant times? And what exactly were they trying to hide with such incredible effort? Some researchers even suggest that the money pit does not contain treasures in the traditional sense, but was created as a kind of time capsule to preserve certain knowledge or artifacts for future generations, critically important for humanity. Perhaps the creators of this structure foresaw a catastrophe or war and were trying to protect something invaluable from destruction. But if this is the case, what exactly did they consider so valuable that they made such colossal efforts to preserve it? And is the island's curse a kind of warning, a signal that we are not yet ready to gain access to these ancient secrets? The mystery of Oak Island continues to stir the minds of researchers and dreamers, reminding us that even in our technologically advanced era, there are places on Earth filled with inexplicable mysteries, as if challenging our rational thinking. And perhaps the true treasure of the money pit is not gold or jewels, but the very mystery itself, an unsolvable puzzle that keeps us thinking about the limits of human capabilities and the secrets that the past hides from the present. For what could be more valuable than an unsolved mystery that continues to captivate and intrigue for centuries after its creation? If the mysteries of the land continue to captivate the imagination of researchers, what secrets do the silent depths of the world's oceans hide? In recent decades, underwater archaeology has revealed a fascinating chapter in human history. Submerged cities and mysterious ruins buried beneath layers of seawater. These silent witnesses of the past preserve traces of ancient civilizations that vanished under mysterious circumstances, as if nature itself decided to conceal them from human eyes. One of the most intriguing underwater mysteries of our time is the Yonaguni Monument, a mysterious structure discovered off the coast of the Japanese island of Yonaguni in 1987. A massive stone structure resembling a stepped pyramid with perfectly straight angles and smooth surfaces, it lies at a depth of approximately 25 meters. Is it a whimsical creation of nature, or a testament to the existence of an unknown ancient civilization? Official science tends to favor the theory of natural origin, explaining its formation through erosion and tectonic plate movements. But how to explain the presence of perfect right angles, columns, and even what some researchers interpret as an ancient temple with an altar? Japanese geologist Masaki Kimura, who has devoted more than 15 years to studying this object, is convinced that the Yonaguni Monument is a human creation, built no less than 5,000 years ago, when sea levels were significantly lower. If this is indeed the case, who were these ancient builders? And why did their civilization disappear without a trace in historical records? No less mysterious are the underwater ruins near the Indian coast of Mahabalipuram, where in 2002, after a destructive tsunami, the outlines of ancient temples and sculptures emerged from the sand. Local legends have long spoken of the 7 pagodas, 6 of which were swallowed by the sea. Did the elements, in destroying, simultaneously reveal a veil over an ancient secret? Radiocarbon analysis of the discovered artifacts indicates an age of around 1,200 years, corresponding to the period of the Pallava dynasty. However, some elements of the construction demonstrate striking similarities with more ancient civilizations that existed long before the official chronology of this region. Perhaps what we have found is just the tip of the iceberg, and beneath the layers of silt lie evidence of even older and more advanced cultures. What about the famous ruins of Pavlopetri off the coast of Greece, the oldest known submerged city, estimated to be around 5,000 years old? Here, at a depth of just 3 to 4 meters, lies an entire city with streets, buildings, and even a cemetery. Modern three-dimensional mapping technologies have allowed archaeologists to virtually revive this ancient port, but many questions remain unanswered. How did a developed Bronze Age urban civilization end up underwater? Was it a result of gradual sea level rise, or a catastrophic event, an earthquake, tsunami, or even a meteorite impact? And the most intriguing question: how many more such submerged cities lie hidden beneath the surface of the Mediterranean, waiting to be discovered? A special chapter in the Book of Underwater Mysteries is dedicated to the legends of Atlantis, the legendary continent described by Plato and supposedly swallowed by the ocean in the aftermath of a cataclysm. For centuries, researchers have proposed dozens of possible locations for the submerged civilization, from Santorini in the Aegean Sea to the Bahamas in the Atlantic Ocean. In 2001, Canadian researchers using satellite technology discovered strange regular structures on the floor of the Atlantic near Cuba at a depth of more than 700 meters. Underwater robots recorded massive geometrically correct blocks and pyramid-like structures resembling ancient Mesoamerican constructions. Could these structures have been created by humans? If so, when was this territory last above sea level? Geologists estimate that this occurred no less than 12,000 years ago, long before the appearance of the known ancient civilizations. No less mysterious are the underwater pyramids discovered off the coast of Japan, near the Ryukyu Islands. These enigmatic structures, covered with corals and marine deposits, bear a striking resemblance to the pyramids of the Maya and Aztecs, despite being separated by thousands of kilometers of ocean. How to explain such architectural parallels between civilizations that, according to official history, never had contact with each other? Could there have been a primordial culture that spread its knowledge around the world, long before the rising waters of the ocean forever separated the continents? What if the legends of a global flood, present in the mythology of almost all ancient peoples, from the Sumerians to the Maya, from the Indians to the Vikings, are not just a metaphor, but an echo of a real global catastrophe that changed the face of the planet and destroyed a developed civilization that existed 10 to 12,000 years ago? Modern geology confirms that at the end of the last ice age, the world's sea level rose by approximately 120 meters, flooding vast coastal areas. What if it was on these fertile plains, now lying beneath the waters, that the first civilizations were born, leaving behind only faint memories in the form of legends and myths? Submerged cities and ruins challenge our understanding of history, making us ponder, how complete are our knowledge of human past? What if what we consider the beginning of civilization is merely a rebirth after a global catastrophe that wiped out more ancient and possibly more advanced cultures? Silent stone witnesses on the seabed keep their secrets, and we have only just begun to scratch the surface of this fascinating enigma. How many more lost cities slumber beneath the waves, waiting for technology to reveal their secrets and rewrite the history of humanity? Sea monsters, the horror from the depths. But this is not the only secret that the oceans hold. Recall how sailors, setting out on long voyages, often spoke of terrifying creatures dwelling in the boundless depths. Legends of kraken, giant sea serpents, and other monsters whose names evoke fear have been passed down through generations, forming a mythology that seems to belong only to fairy tales. But what if there is a kernel of truth in these stories? How would life on a ship be if dark shadows of underwater giants, glinting with scales, swept past, causing hearts to freeze with fear? Throughout history, sailors have reported encounters with unknown creatures that could easily capsize ships and swallow entire crews. One of the most famous stories about a kraken, described as a giant creature capable of causing terrible storms and swallowing ships, originated in Scandinavia. But what if the kraken is not just a product of imagination, but a reflection of real observations of rare deep-sea creatures such as the giant squid? These creatures, hiding in the dark depths of the ocean, were only discovered in the last few decades, and their sizes can reach up to 7 meters in length. Are there still more mysterious creatures that did not live long enough to become subjects of scientific study? Scientific research shows that there are still many unexplored areas of the ocean where life thrives, hiding its secrets from human eyes. It is not surprising that many researchers and zoologists believe that in these boundless expanses, there may be real sea monsters waiting to be discovered. A striking example is the story of the Oklahoma snake, described by local fishermen as a long, serpent-like creature capable of reaching 6 meters in length. Witnesses claim to have seen this creature rise from the depths of the lake, and although many consider it a myth, there is nothing stranger than reality hidden behind the ghosts of legends. Notably, even in our time, reports of encounters with mysterious creatures continue to emerge, which may be merely variations of known marine animals, but could also be manifestations of the unknown that lives in the depths. How can we explain these numerous stories of encounters with sea monsters if we do not remember that human perception often distorts reality, filling gaps in knowledge with myths and legends? Some researchers suggest that these myths may be based on real observations, such as encounters with giant sea serpents, which were misinterpreted in conditions of fear and tension. Perhaps we simply do not understand the deep ecosystems of the oceans, and our understanding of them is based on insufficient knowledge. But who knows how many more secrets are hidden beneath the ocean's surface? Perhaps these are not just myths, but memories of creatures that were part of an ecosystem that existed millions of years ago. So how do we know where legends end and facts begin? Every time we dive into the ocean, we encounter the possibility of discovering something extraordinary, a sea monster that could change our understanding of life on Earth. Therefore, the question remains, do we really know everything that lies hidden in the depths of the oceans, or does the sea continue to hold wonders, waiting to be revealed? Unidentified submarine objects, USOs, shadows in the abyss. But on this mysterious path, we encounter another unsolved mystery that attracts the attention not only of researchers, but also of ordinary people. Unidentified submarine objects, or USOs as they are often called. Imagine something moving with astonishing speed in the silent depths of the ocean, far from human eyes, leaving behind a trail of bubbles and an enigmatic silence. Witness accounts of strange submarine objects vary from simple observations to captivating stories of creatures capable of maneuvers beyond the reach of modern human technology. On May 18, 2013, several fishermen, at a depth of around 30 meters, witnessed a remarkable sight. They saw a bright light that, according to them, initially moved slowly and then suddenly accelerated to an incredible speed, disappearing into the darkness of the water. How is this possible? Could it be that the ocean depths hide more advanced technologies than we can imagine? Discussing these phenomena, scientists and researchers propose several theories. One of them links the observations of USOs to military developments that might have been launched into the ocean's depths. Perhaps these are secret projects about which the public is unaware, using unique technologies to maneuver in waters where ordinary ships cannot reach. But military personnel are not the only ones who could be involved in these mysterious phenomena. Some suggest that these could be alien ships using the ocean as an ideal hiding place to avoid human attention. In this context, the question arises, what if USOs are not just a figment of imagination, but a real reflection of the existence of other intelligent beings observing us from the dark depths? There are also more exotic theories suggesting that these objects could be manifestations of unknown natural phenomena. However, moreover, how much so? In the one of them, however, how many around this phenomenon? There are many other mysteries, such as sounds resembling mechanical noises, or even melodic trills that could be made by unknown marine inhabitants. In 1998, researchers recorded a sound known as no-no, which also leaves many questions and speculations. Some believe it could be the sounds made by whales communicating over vast distances, while others think it could be the remnants of ancient marine creatures that have long disappeared from the face of the earth. How can we explain these mysterious voices of the abyss that penetrate our consciousness, evoking a sense of silent fear and awe? Perhaps these are not just sounds, but messages from the depths that we are still unable to understand. Research continues, and with each new discovery, new mysteries emerge. But will we ever be able to decipher this language of the depths? How many more unknown sounds exist that could contain clues about life in the ocean and its inhabitants? Some researchers believe that these sounds could be the key to solving many mysteries of the underwater world. But as practice shows, each solution opens new mysteries. So the question remains, what truly lurks in the dark depths of the ocean, and how many more voices of the abyss await their turn to be heard? Perhaps the underwater worlds hold not only wonders, but also secrets that we are not even aware of. Ghost islands, vanished lands. We all know that the ocean is not just an endless blue expanse, but also a repository of countless mysteries waiting to be revealed. Throughout the history of cartography, there have been mysterious islands that appeared on old maps for centuries, only to vanish as if they had never existed. What is the reason for their enigmatic disappearance? Perhaps it is simply a matter of cartographic errors, where inexperienced explorers misinterpreted visible outlines or optical illusions caused misunderstandings. However, some of these islands were so meticulously described that their existence inspired confidence, even in the most skeptical. For example, the island of Senurf was marked on maps in the 17th century, but no mention of it provided a clear explanation of its location. How could such experienced cartographers have made such a mistake? What is the true nature of Senurf? But that is not all. There are also theories that some of these phantom islands could have appeared due to volcanic activity. Volcanic islands can suddenly emerge when lava rises to the surface, but they can just as quickly disappear back into the sea, leaving behind only myths and legends. The most famous example of such an island is Kundal, which, according to sailors' tales, emerged from a massive underwater eruption and disappeared a few years later, taking with it all traces of its existence. How could such lands have appeared and disappeared, leaving behind only whispers in the ocean's waters? But apart from volcanoes, there are other possible explanations. Some researchers suggest that these islands did indeed exist, but were swallowed by the sea due to climate changes or changes in sea levels over thousands of years. Let us recall, for instance, the legends of the lost Atlantis, a mythical civilization that, according to the tales, disappeared into the ocean, leaving behind only a riddle. How could such advanced cultures disappear without a trace? And is it possible that we are on the brink of discovering new ghost islands hidden beneath the ocean's surface, waiting to be revealed? After all, the ocean is full of unsolved mysteries, and each new investigation can open doors to forgotten worlds. But the true enigma lies not only in what we know about old maps and vanished islands, but also in how many other unknown lands may still be hidden beneath the ocean's surface, waiting to be rediscovered. How many more secrets does our planet hold, and what exactly lies beyond the horizon where water meets the sky? The ocean is not just an endless blue expanse, but a true abyss filled with dark mysteries and unexplored depths that stir our imagination and make us shudder with fear. With every new exploration, we uncover only a small part of what lies beneath its waves. Let us recall the chilling tales of ghost ships, mysterious creatures that roam its depths, and sunken civilizations whose histories we can barely imagine. What were their fates when they left their homes to venture into uncharted waters? What thoughts filled their minds as their vessels were swallowed by the raging waves? Scientific research, such as LiDAR scanning and carbon dating, only slightly lift the veil of secrecy, but do not provide definitive answers to the questions that have haunted researchers for centuries. No matter how hard we try, some mysteries remain beyond our reach, as if nature itself guards them. The ocean is not only a source of life, but also a chasm where dangers lurk, capable of consuming all traces of existence. We know about some vanished islands and submerged cities, but how many more secrets does this abyss hold? Perhaps it is in these moments, when we gaze at the calm surface of the water, unaware of the horrors hidden beneath, that we should ponder the grandeur and power of nature. Do you feel that chill of fear when you think that every wave could hide a story filled with terror and tragedy? Share your scariest maritime stories or theories you've heard, for each of us can be a part of this great enigma. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you want to continue delving into the world of secrets and mysteries waiting to be revealed. Remember, this is just a small part of the ocean's secrets, and in its depths, there is still much unexplained, waiting for someone to dare to peer into its dark waters once more. How many more chilling stories are hidden beneath the surface, and what secrets await their turn to be uncovered?